I believe that melanin has something to do with being able to get in tune with cosmic order if you want to use your melanin. It has something to do, that's why all the prophets, there's no such thing as a white prophet. All the prophets had pigmentation. I think that that has something to do with being able to tune in. What is the cosmic law? Finding out what it is that we are supposed to do. Finding out what we are supposed to do to be the highest expression of that which we were created to be. We have to find that. And that's the homework of everybody. See, we can't go home and say, I don't have any homework. We all have homework. The homework of self-development. The homework of learning how to be soldiers for justice and self-respect in the presence of evil. I began to sound like church. But church and politics and the correct thing and everything has to do with trying to get in line with what it's supposed to be. I mean, this is a glorious universe. And it's a glorious planet. You just look outside at nature. There's some people, however, who are disturbed. And they can't see that that's beauty enough. And they want to start jugging with genes. And they won't be satisfied until they try to become the God force itself. We cannot follow in that direction. Somehow we have got to tune into what do we think. With our black selves, what do we think we are supposed to be doing here? See, now we've had a lot of years of conditioning. The slave, yours is not to reason why, yours is but to do or die. And for some people, for them to think their own thoughts, that ain't right. Dr. Welsing, are there any authorities who agree with you? Can't use what you say until the authorities say it is okay, and the authorities fired me. But somehow we have got to pursue. We have got to, no one is going to come along and show us out of our situation. Any place on this planet. We are going to have to find that ourselves. We're going to have to find it ourselves. And I think that these exercises that I was going to talk about a few minutes ago, that these exercises can probably help us. Because, see, it's not, joining a group is not going to answer it. A group is only as strong as its weakest link. And so if everybody has the homework of making themselves strong, don't worry about what somebody else is doing. What is each of us, what am I doing, my own black self? So some exercises. We have to learn how to stop gossiping about one another. Everybody? Now let me give you a clue. Remember when I said, well, we need to not have sexual intercourse with anybody that's not going to be a soldier? There was a lot of applause. But you won't be able to follow through on that if you gossip. If you're gossiping about somebody else's non-white, that means that you don't respect yourself. It takes a whole lot of self-respect to deny yourself something that is highly gratifying. So first things first, stop gossiping about one another. Stop name-calling one another. Stop squabbling with one another. Stop cursing one another. Stop snitching on one another. Informing to the racists for reasons of personal gain. Stop being discourteous to one another. Stop being disrespectful to one another. See, and that's me too. I'm not telling you something that I'm not talking to myself about. Stop robbing one another. Stop stealing from one another. Stop fighting one another. And stop killing one another. And stop using and selling drugs. Now, can an oppressor walk through that front? It's impossible. That's the tightest defensive and offensive line that can ever be drawn. Now, don't anybody ask me when I stop, what can we do? Do you follow me? Because people always do that, but I'm going to head it off. Because we want to jump over. See, that's very, very hard. If you stop gossiping, it's like your lungs are going to break on the telephone. There's nothing to talk about. But see, all of that, all of those behaviors are behaviors that flow automatically. Once you've taught people to degrade themselves and to disrespect themselves, then behavior will flow from that image that is self and group negating. And the brain is all just logic circuits. Logic circuits. You cannot fool the brain. Let me show you all something. How many people would like to see white supremacy go away tomorrow morning? How many people would like to see white supremacy go away tomorrow morning and take everything it's made? Stop lying. Because that would mean that we'll all be sitting out on the dirt somewhere naked. Do you follow me? See, we can't answer truthfully. That's why I say the truth will set you free. That's why I say tell the truth about fear. Tell the truth about your desires because they are known through your behavior. And don't feel bad because that's what we are oppressed. We are oppressed. There's no guns around us. We are holding each other in oppression or holding ourselves in oppression with our behavior. Our values. But we can change them. Test number 2. How many people want a Mercedes? Raise your hands. I think it's pretty. See, you didn't see many hands, but you hear all the kind of okay. That's the truth. How many people think the person sitting next to them can make a Mercedes? Look at the person next to you and see if you think they can make a Mercedes. Now you all hear that truth, right? Now see, these lights are in my eyes, but I saw how many hands went up. Now what does that mean? See, we're dealing with the computer now, and psychiatrists are supposed to know a little bit about how they work. That's our job, to try to find out how they work. What do you think the computer does in relationship to if I want something? See, I didn't say how many people think they can make a Mercedes, because everybody, I can, okay? So the psychiatrist sneaks around the back door, has you look at a person that looks just like you, and see whether you think they can make one. So if you don't think they can make one, you know that you can, because you don't know anything about the abilities of that person. So all we have said is that we want something. If we pay attention to what we said, we want something. We admire something that our oppressor makes, that we don't think we could make ourselves if we wanted. Computer computes. Then you will do nothing about your oppressor. Leave oppressor intact so he can make Mercedes-Benz so you can drive. And that's why we can have thousands of conferences and spend hours and hours of discussing what should we do? What should we do? And see, all those are games that we play with ourselves. Games. Because the computer draws the bottom line, don't intend to do nothing. Like the toys from the system of oppression will keep oppression intact. You cannot make what you need, Mercedes nor toilet paper. Now don't feel bad. See, we want to know the truth about ourselves. It's just like if I wanted to run in the Olympics, I'd have to get some coach and I said, now watch me run and tell me what my time is. If I have the worst time in the history of the 100-yard dash, then tell me so. Because I don't want to lie to myself, because indeed if I do want to enter the Olympics and win, I have to know where I'm starting. So these questions have revealed the era that we are in, right? And we have some lessons that we can engage in as individuals that do not depend upon what a single other individual victim of white supremacy is doing. If we want to bring in a new era, if the present era is a reflection of white supremacy domination and therefore non-white inferiorization, meaning non-white people having been shaped and molded into functional inferiors who believe they are functional inferiors. See, I should walk out there to Stanford, walk on my hands and knees out there to Shockley and say, Professor Shockley, you not only have said that we are genetically inferior to you, but guess what? We believe it ourselves. See, that's what the question about the Mercedes, right? When you look at that person next to you who is a reflection of yourself and you conclude that they cannot make a Mercedes, but the oppressor can, is that not saying that they're genetically inferior in terms of intelligence to the oppressor? That's what we think, isn't it? Yeah, that's what we think. That's why our kids can't read. The reason that people in formal slavery were able to help the children read because they had not been exposed to such a long period of conditioning as we have now. Yes, we believe it. And we have got to work very, very, very hard to get that out of our heads. One other thing, and I want to stop and let you all ask some questions.
The Grandcestor, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, Context of White Supremacy.